My wife's new male assistant had a terrible temper. It only took her putting a small portion of food onto my plate at the dinner table for him to explode in anger. In a fit of rage, he smashed every single piece of tableware in the house. Then, in some kind of overdramatic stunt, he even threatened to fake his own death, erase his identity, and disappear from my wife's life forever. That threat sent my wife into a panic. She didn't think twice about abandoning me even though I was scheduled for lung cancer surgery that very afternoon, and instead sped down the highway after him like she was in some romance-drammy. Wife's new male assistant had a terrible temper. It only took her putting a chase scene. By 3:00 p.m. It was time for my surgery. My phone rang. It was my wife, her voice full of forced apology. As his boss, I have a duty to ensure my employees' safety. As soon as I find him and make sure he's okay, I'll come straight to the hospital for your surgery. I'll even make it up to you with a destination wedding. But I was done waiting for her. Victoria Summers, I said flatly. Let's get a divorce. Victoria's voice came through the phone, tinged with irritation. Ethan is the son of a wealthy family. I've been humbling myself to get on his good side, but it's all for the company, for this family, for you. It's one thing if you don't understand, but you're constantly holding me back. That's enough. It's just a minor surgery. Tell the doctor to delay it. Once I've calmed him down, I'll be right there. How about that? She hung up before I could answer. I didn't bother calling her back. Instead, I dialed a number I hadn't used in years. Sis, I've lost. I'm willing to leave her and accept whatever arrangements you and the family have for me. On the other end, Isabella sighed softly. You were ready to die for her back then. Are you sure you can really let her go now? I let out a bitter laugh. There's nothing left to hold on to. Years ago, my parents had vehemently opposed my relationship with Victoria, insisting I accept an arranged marriage instead. But to be with her, I threw everything away: my identity as a wealthy heir, my ties with my family, all in the name of what I thought was true love. Before I left, Isabella had warned me, you and she have no future. If you ever regret this, call me. I'll help you, but it will mean giving her up. Back then, I refused to admit defeat, certain that love could conquer anything. For 5 years, no matter how tough life became, I never reached out to my family until Ethan Underwood appeared. At first, Victoria didn't pay him much attention. That changed the moment Ethan revealed his wealthy family background and landed a $1 million deal for the company. Suddenly, she was taking him out to dinner, shopping with him, playing video games. They became practically inseparable. Our colleagues, unaware Victoria and I were married, would even praise them right in front of me, calling them the perfect couple. I confronted Victoria, furious. She calmly brushed it off with the same excuse she used today, that it was all for the company, all for me, all for our dreams and ambitions. I believed her, even though it ate away at me. I let it go. But for 6 months straight, Ethan failed to close a single deal. Anyone else would have doubted his so-called wealthy heir identity, but not Victoria. She was convinced he was destined for huge contracts. She favored him in every way and even persuaded me to hand my own deals over to him. Ethan felt no shame in his failures. If anything, he was arrogant. My dad's not giving me deals because he's testing me, he bragged. Once he sees my progress, he'll throw a $100 million contract our way. When that happens, I'll toss you a small piece of the commission. It'll be more than you've ever made. If Victoria hadn't begged me, I wouldn't even bother with you. So don't push your luck. No one who builds a fortune from the ground up is a fool. Why would anyone hand over money for free? I didn't believe a word of it, but Victoria was enchanted by him. She used threats, persuasion, and manipulation to force me to give up my own contracts. As I expected, Ethan couldn't handle them. The guaranteed profits vanished, and the promised massive contract never appeared, leaving the company with a huge loss. Even after that, Victoria didn't change. She continued fawning over him, and now, for his sake, she had abandoned me on the day of my surgery, still insisting it was for my own good. I would never believe her lies again. Just then, a nurse walked in. Sincere Clifton, has your family arrived? It's almost time for your surgery. From the phone, Isabella's voice turned sharp. What surgery? Are you sick? It's lung cancer, sis. Can you come and sign the consent forms? Give me 10 minutes. The moment I hung up, I gripped my phone tightly, and the tears I'd been holding back finally spilled over. My family, the ones I'd left behind, were the only people who truly cared about me. Victoria hadn't even sent a message. It wasn't until the day after my surgery that she finally sent me something, a money transfer, just 13-14. Her message: "Read, Ethan has a short fuse, so I'm taking him on a week-long trip to cool off. Have the doctors postpone your surgery until I get back." When Ethan had a tantrum, she would send him tens of thousands of dollars. But for me, her compensation was $13. She claimed the 1,314 had special meaning, that it symbolized for life her special love for me. I used to believe that. Now I understood, wherever the money went, that's where her love followed. She'd just been stringing me along. I rejected the transfer with a humorless smile and replied, "You don't need to come. The surgery's already over." What was the point of her coming now? Victoria, clearly annoyed, sent back, "I've explained everything. What are you still upset about? Ethan managed to get his dad to give us a $100 million deal this time. Behave yourself, and once this contract is signed, I'll take you anywhere you want to go." To convince me, she even sent a copy of the contract. I glanced at it and froze. The client was the Clifton Group, my family's company. I stared in confusion. Isabella leaned over my shoulder and immediately looked awkward. "Oh, you found out? We weren't trying to give you a handout. 6 months ago, our family driver said he saw you and that you were struggling. Dad was worried, but he thought you'd refuse help, so he had a friend's company pass you a deal. It was only $1 million, not much, but enough to keep a small business afloat. Then recently, the driver told us Victoria was looking down on you. Dad wanted to give you some face, so he decided to work with your company directly." As she spoke, Isabella's eyes scanned the contract and then she frowned in surprise. "This was supposed to be for you. Why is the driver's son listed as the person in charge?" It all clicked. No wonder Ethan was so arrogant. He'd been using my identity to con everyone. I quickly explained everything to Isabella. She was furious and wanted to expose them. I waved her off. "Don't bother. Just cancel the contract." She looked at me, surprised, sincere. "Have you really given up on her? No regrets?" I nodded without hesitation. The moment Victoria chose him over me, I was done. Recovery from the minimally invasive surgery was fast. I was discharged in just a few days. During that time, I didn't receive a single message from Victoria. Ethan, however, sent me texts constantly, each one dripping with mockery. Victoria and I took 1,000 photos together on our trip. Do you ever get that kind of treatment? Staring at the screen filled with their smiling selfies, I could only manage a bitter smile. He was right, I never did. Victoria hated having her picture taken. She'd even refused to take wedding photos. Victoria had refused to take wedding photos with me even when we first got married. I was still staring at the old pictures we did have when another message from Ethan popped up. It was my fault for causing trouble, but Victoria said she had to make it up to me since you were angry. So, she bought me a $7 million Ferrari on the spot. Hey, Manager Clifton, if you know what's good for you, maybe you should get on your knees and beg me. If I'm in a good mood, I might convince Victoria to get you a decent new car. I had been driving the same cheap electric car for years. I'd asked Victoria countless times about replacing it, but she always brushed me off with the same excuse: the company's having cash flow problems. Yet here she was, buying a luxury car for Ethan without a second thought. And apparently, if I wanted a new car, I'd have to rely on his charity. I laughed bitterly at myself. What a pathetic way to live. I turned off my phone, ignoring Ethan's taunts, and went back to clearing the house of anything that reminded me of our love. In the middle of my task, Victoria called. Ethan left in a hurry, and there's a problem with one of the project stages. You need to handle it. In the past, for the sake of the company, I would have swallowed my pride and done it. But now, I can't handle it, I said flatly. Victoria's shock was clear in her tone. It's a simple task. What do you mean you can't handle it? Then Ethan's arrogant voice broke in. It seems Manager Clifton's been in the workplace for a while, but still doesn't understand that ability is no match for a strong background. Victoria, I was kind enough to have my dad give you a $100 million contract. He's the one who doesn't want it, so don't blame me. I froze. He was this brazen, even speaking directly to me. Did he not know who I really was? Before I could dwell on it, Victoria quickly soothed him. He doesn't know any better. Please, for my sake, don't stoop to his level, okay? Then her voice shifted sharp and commanding when she addressed me. I told you to go, so go. It's an honor for you to assist Ethan. Just then, our housekeeper walked over holding a stuffed doll. "Sir, should I throw this out too?" It was a doll we'd won together at a claw machine on our first date. She used to hold it every night while she slept, but now it had been tossed in a corner, dirty and collecting dust. It was time to let it go. I nodded, then I replied to Victoria, "No thanks. He's too high class. I'm not worthy of his company." She must have overheard the housekeeper's voice because she suddenly sounded displeased. "You're at home during working hours? If you don't get back here and deal with this, I'll count it as an unexcused absence, dock your pay, and suspend you to help Ethan." She thought punishing me would force me to comply. She was wrong. "Do whatever you want." I shrugged. As soon as I said it, the line went completely silent. I could only hear Victoria's furious breathing. Finally, she snapped, "Sincere, what is wrong with you now? I'm exhausted from this business trip. Can't you be a little more understanding?" Exhausted? From what I'd seen, she'd been enjoying a great time sightseeing. "I'm not making a scene. I just think Ethan is right. The company doesn't need capable people, it just needs people with connections. So, I'm voluntarily stepping down. I wish the company a prosperous future." Victoria let out a long sigh. "You say you're not making a scene, but your jealousy is practically seeping through the phone. Sincere. You and Ethan are my right and left hands. He handles the connections, you handle the business. It's a win-win. You should be building a good relationship with him, not targeting him." After her lecture, she sent me a transfer just 52 and softened her tone. "We still need you, manager, to oversee things once the project is finalized. Just work hard for a little while longer. Once the deal is done, I'll give you a month off to rest. How does that sound?" I didn't reply. On the other end, Ethan's voice chimed in. "Victoria, for you, I'm willing to lower myself and get along with Sincere." Victoria sounded pleased. "See? That's the difference with a man of status, so generous, so broad-minded. Sincere, you should really learn from him." I'd heard enough. I ended the call. She called back immediately. I hung up again. Then came a flood of messages. I ignored them, setting my phone to silent after I'd completely cleared the house. I finally checked my phone. 99 notifications from missed calls and messages. Instead of soothing her rage, I opened my work software and submitted my resignation. The request shot up the approval chain and was instantly approved the moment it reached Victoria. She must have been so furious with my silent treatment that she didn't even bother to cause trouble, just let me go. I shook my head. At least it saved me the hassle. After finalizing my resignation, I pulled a document from the drawer, the divorce agreement. I had signed it a few days before Victoria left for her trip. When I'd handed it to her, she signed without even glancing at it. "Did you even read it before signing?" I'd asked, stunned. She gave me a sweet smile. "There's nothing to see. I trust you wouldn't do anything to hurt me." Looking into her gentle, watery eyes, my heart had skipped a beat. For a brief moment, I'd thought she still cared for me, but then Ethan had barged in. "We were supposed to go to the movies. Why are you still working? I'm counting to 3, and if you're not ready, I'm leaving without you." Victoria hated being rushed. Even a mild question from me could set her off. But when Ethan yelled at her, she didn't get angry at all. She just smiled, grabbed her bag, and ran to him. "Don't be mad. I'm all done. Let's go." So that was it. She hadn't trusted me. She was just in a hurry to sign so she could go to the movies with him. After 5 years as her husband, my place in her heart was worth less than that of a junior assistant. How ridiculous. I lowered my gaze. Since she didn't love me anymore, I would set her free. I took the signed divorce agreement and went to the courthouse. "Sir, I need to confirm that your marriage has irretrievably broken down before I can process the divorce," the clerk said. I nodded and pulled out my phone to call Victoria. I knew she wouldn't answer. She was still angry. After more than 10 rejected calls, the clerk was satisfied, stamped the papers, and approved the divorce. By the end of the afternoon, the divorce certificate was in my hands. I took a picture and sent it to my sister. She was overjoyed and insisted on leaving work to pick me up and take me home. I was about to say it wasn't necessary, but hearing the happiness in her voice, I couldn't bring myself to refuse. I started driving home. Immediately, as I reached the front door, I heard bursts of laughter and cheerful voices from inside. I pushed the door open slightly. Inside, Victoria and Ethan, who were supposed to be away on a trip, were back. The living room was filled with colorful balloons, and a 10-tier birthday cake sat on the table. Ethan, wearing a birthday hat, was grinning. "Victoria," I heard You've never once celebrated Sincere's birthday. I feel truly honored. Victoria waved a dismissive hand. He's just a poor kid. What's there to celebrate? It's a waste of money. You're different. It's our honor that you'd spend your birthday with us. My hand froze on the door, even though my heart had already gone cold. A sharp, faint pain pricked at my chest. In 5 years of marriage, she had always been on a business trip during my birthday, using the excuse that she had a bad memory and would make it up to me next year. I believed her. Now I finally understood she didn't forget. She just thought I wasn't worth celebrating. It had been deliberate all along. I stayed silent in the doorway. They didn't notice me. Victoria's fair-weather friends cheerfully handed over their gifts while bad-mouthing me. Sincere is so useless. He's a mooch and can't even handle the simplest things. He made Victoria cut her vacation short to fix his mess. She should just divorce a good-for-nothing like him, one of Victoria's friends sneered. Whether it's family background or ability, he's not even worth a single hair on Ethan's leg. Victoria, I can see Ethan likes you too. Why don't you two just get together? Victoria pursed her lips, her tone deliberately vague. Let's not talk about it. He's been with me through a lot. If I abandon him now, people will talk. On the surface, it sounded like she was defending me. But in truth, she conveniently left out the fact that I was the one who had personally secured over 90% of the company's contracts. I wasn't a mooch, far from it. The comfortable life she was living was entirely because of me. Her silence only made her friends bolder. Victoria, you've supported him for years, fed him, clothed him, let him live in a mansion. You've done more than enough. Are you really going to waste your whole life on this useless person? If we'd known this would happen, we never would have pushed you two together for a few free coffees back then. Exactly. Another chimed in. He was spending so much money back then. I thought he came from a rich family. Turns out he was just faking it. Ultimately, we're the ones who led you astray. We'll definitely help you correct this mistake and get you back on track. Hearing that, I couldn't help but laugh. Birds of a feather really do flock together. A few free coffees? I had paid for all their drinks for our entire 4 years of college unlimited, whenever they wanted. When I took Victoria to 5-star restaurants, they always tagged along. I even bought each of them gifts whenever I bought one for her. And now, after years of free food and gifts, they were advising her to divorce me. Of course, it wasn't for Victoria's sake. They just figured Ethan was richer and could give them more. Victoria, one of them said slyly, if you're worried about your reputation, we can fake some evidence to make it look like he cheated first. That way, bang, I'd heard enough. I pushed the door wide open and stepped in. The room fell silent. Victoria's expression froze, a flash of panic flickering in her eyes. She opened her mouth to explain herself, but then seemed to remember we were in the middle of a Cold War. Her face hardened. She glanced at the clock. It's not even 6. You left work early again? It seems you haven't learned your lesson. In that case, I cut her off with a cold laugh. She clearly didn't know I had resigned. She must have been too busy planning Ethan's party to even notice who the resignation was from before approving it. She really did care about him. No need, I said. I've already resigned. Resigned? When did that happen? Victoria's eyes widened. She rubbed her temples as if remembering something. Fine, she said flatly. The project is already underway, so we don't need you anymore. Do what you want. I was going to let you keep your name on it to get a piece of the commission, but if you don't want it, I won't force you. I raised an eyebrow. She didn't even know the project had been canceled. I was about to tell her, but then the roar of an engine came from downstairs, a limited edition luxury car worth over $100 million and impossible to buy even with money pulled up. Her friend's eyes lit up. You didn't know, did you? One of them crowed. Ethan's mother's surname is Underwood, but his father's is Clifton, as in the Clifton Group. That car downstairs must be his sister's. She's probably here to bring him a birthday present. Sincere, you're finished. You messed with Ethan. You're both named Clifton, but your statuses are worlds apart. That's just fate. You should accept it. They rushed to the door to greet the newcomer, completely missing the ugly expression on Ethan's face. Victoria also lifted her chin smugly. For the sake of our years of marriage, if you're willing to hand over all your resources to Ethan, I'll allow you to continue being a freeloader in this house. Otherwise, I knew she was about to threaten me with divorce to squeeze out whatever remaining value she thought I had. I ignored her. Just then, the door opened. My sister, Isabella, stepped in, dressed in a sharp business suit. She ignored the fawning friends and came straight to me, patting me on the shoulder. "Bro, have you packed your things? Mom and Dad are waiting for us for dinner." Victoria froze, completely stunned. I pulled out the divorce certificate and showed it to her. "Forgot to tell you that $100 million project? I had my parents cancel it. And as for your offer, I don't need it. We're already divorced." The sheer amount of information seemed to short-circuit Victoria's brain. She stared at me, her face a mask of confusion. "She's your sister? You're the heir of the billionaire Clifton family?" Her friends were in disbelief. "You must be mistaken. Ethan is your brother." "Ethan, say something. Didn't you tell us you were the Clifton heir? Wait, does the Clifton family have two sons? Are you two brothers?" Their minds instantly spun into a soap opera scenario, suspecting Ethan was my half-brother. Why else would he not share my surname? Ethan hadn't expected such a public reveal. He stared at me in shock, finally realizing I was the real, sincere Clifton. For the past 6 months, he had been flaunting his fake identity in front of me. Acting like a complete clown, faced with their questions, Ethan stayed silent. Seeing his reaction, Victoria realized he had been lying, but she had no time to deal with that. She snatched the divorce certificate from the floor and stepped toward me. "This is all a misunderstanding. I never wanted to divorce you. I was wrong. I'll go with you to the hospital right now. Just please don't use fake documents to trick me next time, okay?" This isn't funny. The certificate was right in her hand, but she refused to believe it. "The divorce certificate is real," I said flatly. The corner of her mouth twitched. Normally, she would have exploded in anger by now, but for some reason, she was showing me a rare patience. "Stop lying to me. I never signed anything. How could the divorce have gone through?" I gave her a cold smile and pulled my arm away as she reached for me. "Have you forgotten? That day, I gave you a document to sign. You were in a hurry to go to the movies with Ethan, so you signed it without even looking. You didn't know what you were signing then, but I can tell you now, it was a divorce agreement. As for the hospital visit, you don't need to bother. My sister already took me for the surgery." Hearing what I had been through, even my usually calm and composed sister couldn't help but get misty-eyed. "This is the woman you gave up everything for. You deserve so much better." Sincere, I gave a self-deprecating smile. My sister was right. It hadn't been worth it at all. Ignoring Victoria's bewildered, helpless expression, I waved a hand. "Sis, wait for me a minute. I just need to pack a few things, then I'll go home with you." I headed into the bedroom. Suddenly, chaos erupted in the living room. The same friends who had been fawning over Ethan moments ago were now scrambling to snatch back their gifts. Tui, a broke loser pretending to be a big shot. "This watch cost tens of thousands. I'd rather throw it away than give it to you. This tie is a limited edition. A fraud like you doesn't deserve it. I spent $100 on dinner for you last time, and I barely ate anything. Give me my money back." They surrounded Ethan, demanding the return of everything they'd ever given him. His face darkened, the perfect picture of someone who had fallen from grace in an instant. Victoria, seeing this, felt a pang of pity and rushed to defend him. "Even if he isn't a Clifton heir, he's still important. That $1 million deal came from him. Don't be so materialistic." Her words momentarily made them pause, but the insults quickly resumed. "We were blind. We couldn't see. He was just a gold digger. No wonder he only ever accepted gifts and never gave any. And he never treated us. They always made us pay for dinner. A real heir," they said, "would be like me, spending money without a second thought." The moment I stepped out of the bedroom, they swarmed toward me, eager to flatter. I shook my head, a small laugh escaping. "Please, don't. I'm not even worthy of being compared to a single hair on Ethan's leg. I can't accept such praise." An awkward silence fell over the room. Victoria's face went pale. "How much did you hear?" she asked nervously. "I heard everything," I said coldly. "Starting from when you claimed I was poor and didn't deserve a birthday." I almost laughed. "All these years, I believed your excuses." "Believed you? We're just too busy with work. Turns out, you just thought celebrating my birthday was a waste of money. How much could a cake possibly cost? I gave you my entire salary and every commission I earned. Did I not even deserve a single cake? What made it worse was how cheap she had been with me. The symbolic amounts she sent 3.14 or 5.2, even 200 always came when she'd done something wrong and wanted to appease me. Victoria lowered her head. You know I've been frugal since I was a child. I just thought we should save where we can. At least she was being honest. She'd always claimed money didn't matter, that it was the thought that counted. Back then, I believed her. I saw those little transfers as harmless fun. I didn't realize the truth until Ethan started sending me smug messages. Victoria's stinginess was reserved only for me. She remembered her friends' birthdays every year, buying them gifts. She showered Ethan with luxury cars, designer watches, and expensive dinners. But for me, always an excuse. Now she was trying to use her frugal since childhood story as another lie. Unfortunately for her, I wasn't falling for it anymore. When my sister and I moved to leave, the same friends who had been fawning over Ethan turned on him in an instant. This is all your fault. If it weren't for you, Victoria wouldn't have fought with Sincere. I knew something was off. How could a loser like you land a $100 million deal? You're just a fraud. You've ruined Victoria. Call your dad right now and get another contract to make it up to her. Ethan actually seemed to take their words seriously. Since I hadn't exposed him in public, hope flickered in his eyes. He nodded eagerly. I'll figure something out. They all sighed in relief, thinking the crisis was over. I exchanged a glance with my sister. She instantly understood, pulling out her phone and calling our father. Dad, let's fire the driver, Mr. Underwood. There was no point in publicly humiliating Ethan. Wasting time arguing with nobodies was beneath us. We'd just remove them from our circle, make our displeasure clear, and let others deal with them. Anyone smart enough to want our family's favor would take care of the rest. Returning home was awkward at first. My parents' faces were stern, ready to lecture me, but when Isabella told them I'd just undergone surgery for lung cancer, the room went silent. No one spoke for a long time. Then, one by one, their eyes reddened. My mother grabbed my hand, tears spilling down her cheeks. Can that little hospital really treat you properly? Come with us, we'll go abroad for a full checkup. My father sighed. Let the boy eat first. He's been starving all day. Oh, look at me, my mother said, clapping her hands. I'm so muddled. Yes, eat. Eat first. We'll check you after dinner. Just look at you, you don't take care of yourself. You've gotten so thin. Overwhelmed by their concern, I couldn't hold back my tears. In my family's eyes, my health was the most important thing. In Victoria's eyes, everything else mattered more than me. The contrast was stark. It had always been there. I'd just been too blinded by love to see it. But now my eyes were finally open. After dinner, my parents insisted on a full-body examination. Only after confirming I was fine and just needed rest did they finally relax. The next day, Mr. Underwood brought Ethan to our house. They both dropped to their knees in front of my entire family, crying and begging. I'm so sorry, Mr. Clifton, Mr. Underwood said. I was tempted and lost my way. I have a family to support. Please, give us another chance. It will never happen again. He turned and kicked his son. You ungrateful brat. How dare you offend Mr. Clifton? Apologize to him right now. Ethan's arrogance had completely vanished, but he still couldn't force the words out. His teeth clenched so tightly I thought they might crack, yet not a single apology escaped his lips. His father, furious, cursed and hit him, but no matter what pitiful story they tried to spin, my parents showed no mercy. Knowing what I'd just gone through, they threw them out without hesitation and spread word of their impersonation scheme. From that day forward, no one would dare hire them. Even as he was being dragged away, Ethan shouted defiantly, "Sincere Clifton, you just got lucky being born into your family. What's so great about that? One day, I'll surpass you." I laughed. When his ability couldn't match mine, he claimed ability didn't matter compared to connections. Now that his connections couldn't match mine, he said being born rich was meaningless, always an excuse, always pathetic. I didn't bother with him anymore. After all these years away from home, it was time for me to take over the family business. The moment the news of my inheritance was announced, my old company exploded. Colleagues started tagging me in the group chat. "Manager, no wonder you resigned. I thought you just found a better job, but you went home to inherit a fortune. I can't believe I worked alongside a billionaire. What an honor." As they chatted, the topic shifted. Looks like Sincere only joined our Company to chase Victoria. Our high-maintenance beauty is amazing, turning down a billionaire heir. Please, she just loves Ethan too much. I heard Ethan propose to her during their trip and she said yes. I bet Sincere found out and left heartbroken. Someone, not wanting to miss the drama, tagged me directly. I typed a single question mark. Is that so? I had no idea. They immediately sent me a video. I opened it. Ethan was on one knee, holding a bouquet, proposing to Victoria. The crowd chanted, "Get together." A shy Victoria accepted the flowers and ring. I remembered once wanting to give her a romantic proposal. She told me it was too embarrassing, that if I dared, she wouldn't marry me. I'd compromised for her sake. Now I understood. She just didn't want a public proposal from me because she was ashamed to be seen with me. Moments after the video was posted, Victoria appeared in the group chat, typing furiously, "Delete this if you all have nothing better to do. Then get out. Stop gossiping." Everyone went quiet. They'd forgotten she was in the chat. She messaged me privately, "Sincere, it's not what they're saying. Ethan suddenly proposed with flowers. You know how emotional he gets, and he's a major client. I couldn't reject him outright, so I played along. I gave the ring back right after the video and told him I'm a married woman, not interested." I read her long message and almost laughed. "Don't worry," I replied. "We're divorced. You can be with whoever you want. It has nothing to do with me." She shot back, tone full of grievance, "Why have you become like this? You won't even listen to my explanations. You weren't like this before." I didn't respond. Yes, I used to trust her, but she was the one who broke that trust. Once it's gone, it's almost impossible to rebuild. The group chat, which had gone silent again, suddenly lit up. Look at the news. Someone posted, "Ethan Underwood was arrested for theft." Curious, I clicked the link. The news report revealed that Ethan had been using his father's job as a driver for a wealthy family to pretend he was an heir and commit fraud. After losing his job, he tried desperately to keep up appearances going, so far as to steal a multi-million-dollar antique from his new employer to show off. He was caught in the act. Now both father and son were under arrest. In the video footage, Ethan shouted angrily, swearing he wasn't a thief and claiming he'd been framed, but only the people directly involved knew the truth. After this scandal broke, Victoria became noticeably quieter. Not long after, she issued a public statement announcing Ethan's termination and cleared all his gifts from her office, making a show of cutting ties with him. Then, she started contacting me again. "Ethan is your family driver's son, right?" she asked one day. "The deals he brought in were all because of your family, and he just stole your identity, didn't he?" I didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. That was the past. No point in picking apart such trivial matters, but Victoria wouldn't let it go. One evening, while I was out with friends, she suddenly showed up, clutching a small gift box. She handed it to me. "You said you liked this figurine back then," she began softly. "I forgot to buy it for you. That was my mistake. I bought it for you now. Do you still like it?" I looked down at the figurine. It wasn't anything special, just a cheap knockoff, maybe $20 at most, and I remembered exactly when I'd first seen it. It was 5 years ago, right after we got married. On my birthday that year, we were walking home from work when I pointed to it in a shop window. I'd said it looked nice, not because I truly wanted it, but because I hoped she'd take notice, remember it was my birthday, and do something thoughtful. Instead, she'd barely looked up from her phone. "Yeah, it's nice. Let's go home. I still have some work to do." I'd nodded, hiding my disappointment, still clinging to the fantasy that maybe just like in the movies she was pretending to forget and had a surprise waiting at home. But when I flipped on the lights that night, there was nothing. No cake, no gift, no surprise. Later, she apologized for forgetting my birthday. I believed her. I thought she'd been too caught up in work. But now, I realized something. She had remembered. Not only remembered, but remembered this tiny, insignificant detail from 5 years ago perfectly. It hadn't been forgetfulness. It had been deliberate. When I was just a poor kid, I wasn't worth her attention. But now, as a wealthy heir, she came running back, acting attentive, pretending to care. In the end, it was never me she loved. It was the money. She held out the box again, waiting. I stepped back. It slipped from her hands, hit the floor, and shattered. The air between us instantly grew heavy. She looked like she wanted to lash out but instead swallowed it down, forcing a strained smile. "So, you don't like figurines anymore? What do you like? I'll buy it for you. Is that okay?" I smiled faintly. "I don't need anything." "I don't need you to buy me anything," she sighed, clearly assuming I was still sulking. When she saw I wasn't budging, her patience started to wear thin. "Then what do you want me to do before you'll stop being angry?" I shook my head. "Why do you need me to stop being angry? Isn't Ethan a wealthy heir? Just be with him. We're divorced, it's over. And since no one knew about our relationship, we can part ways quietly. Isn't that better?" Her lips tightened. She was getting frustrated. "I already did what you wanted and fired Ethan. Isn't that enough?" But we both knew she had only fired him after his arrest, just a move to protect herself. Now she had the audacity to claim she did it for me. Pathetic. And yet, that's exactly why I forgave her back then. But her actions afterward proved the truth. She really had fallen for Ethan. Maybe part of it was my fault. I'd been too lenient, too quick to forgive. That's why she still thought she could twist things now, using the "I did it for you" excuse to emotionally manipulate me. A friend sitting beside me, who knew the truth, finally couldn't take it anymore. "You have no right to say that," he snapped at her. "He gave up a life of luxury, cut ties with his family, just to be with you. Otherwise, do you really think someone like you would have been accepted by his family? He sacrificed everything for you, lived a hard life with you, and what did you do? You betrayed his trust, and now you stand here talking nonsense." His words hit her like a slap. Her eyes reddened as she turned to me, voice trembling. "Sincere, I was truly wrong." Then, with a thud, she dropped to her knees in front of me. "I admit it," she cried. "I favored him. It was my fault. I was foolish, possessed. Please, give me one more chance. I promise I'll make it up to you. I'll never be like that again." My friends watched, concern written all over their faces, afraid I'd fall for her tears again. In the past, seeing her like this would have broken me. I'd have forgiven her instantly, but not now. I calmly finished my glass of red wine. I wasn't the naive man she once fooled. I'd seen her true colors. There was no going back. It wasn't like I didn't have other options. I stood and walked away, leaving her kneeling on the floor. My silence was my answer. My decision was final. She chased me all the way to my car, but security stopped her. Even after that, she didn't give up. She started trying to mimic the way I had once pursued her, bringing gifts for my friends, hoping to win them over. But my friends weren't poor, and they had no interest in her cheap trinkets. They ignored her completely. Faced with rejection at every turn, she became desperate. One day, she knelt outside my company's entrance in a public display of apology. It began to rain heavily. She stayed there until she collapsed. I never went to her. I never even looked back. Eventually, she realized I wouldn't be swayed. Finally, she gave up. She returned to her company, looking lost and hollow. But without me, its main pillar, the business crumbled. Losses piled up fast. Within a year, they were drowning in debt. To cover the damage, she sold her house. It still wasn't enough. So she turned to her so-called best friends, trying to collect on old debts. Back when she was successful, those friends had swarmed to her, and out of generosity or nostalgia, she'd lent them a lot of money. But now, when she needed help, they either muttered excuses about being broke or hung up on her, cutting ties completely. In the end, her company declared bankruptcy, leaving her with nothing but debt. Only then, alone, abandoned, and without help, did she realize how good I had been to her. She wrote me a long, rambling suicide note full of apologies and regret. Then, she jumped from a bridge. That was the end of her story.